If you move to a country that doesn't speak your native language and you make zero effort to learn the language, then it is disrespectful towards the natives in that country. With recent news that the UK government are introducing new immigration rules and being able to speak/read/write English being a requirement. I see people on Twitter, what a surprise, making a big stinker out of it, saying it's racist, anyone should have the rights to come over and speak in their native language, etc. If you move to the UK and your native language is not English, then the Home Office should have every right to reject your application. How do you expect to survive social interactions with other people if you are not able to communicate in that language? I find it mega disrespectful when people approach me and try to communicate with their lack of vocabulary in English. If you are learning whenever, if it's done by self-taught or studying at school, college, etc., then fair play to you. Edit. Thank you for the unexpected gold, whoever you are. I admit that I have used some poor choice of wording on this post, but I won't edit it. I'll leave it as it and let you come to your own conclusion. You are welcome. Agree, disagree, explain your side of things. Using buzzwords such as racist, bigot, fascist, or Nazi is only making your statement/argument weaker. If you don't agree, then say it. No need to use buzzword. I've been asked about other way around Brits that have lived in Spain or France, etc. for many years and not learned how to speak Spanish/French, and my opinion on that hasn't changed either. Just as annoying for the natives. I don't have a problem with people coming over for whatever means. If you want to work, live a better life, then at least learn. Don't just come over and not put any effort into learning. Adapt yourself. Thank you for all the response. It's interesting to read it all from different perspectives. Here in NL, most people who move here from another country learn Dutch, except for people whose first language is English. It's very typical. I agree with you though. I feel like you'll just learn it naturally. My grandpa came to America knowing no English, and despite living in an area people called Little Hungary, he still learned English. I mostly agree with you, but when you said, I find it mega disrespectful when people approach me and try to communicate with their lack of vocabulary in English. That just makes you sound like an asshole. A major part of learning a new language is to actually converse with people and practice. I don't think it's racist to deny applications to a country if you can't speak the language, but the way you phrased that makes you definitely sound a little racist. I agree with you. To a certain point. I live in a Mexican tourist city where a ton of English-speaking natives move to. I would say that about 10% of the population speaks Spanish, about 40% at least try, and a whopping 50% don't even try. To me this would be okay. The problem comes when the ones that don't even try get extremely upset when the person in front of them doesn't speak English. They don't have to. By far the biggest offenders of this are people who speak English as their first language. As tourist it is okay, but as immigrant I totally agree. They have to do everything to learn the language and the culture as soon as possible. Dano said they should give up their old one, but that is no excuse to refuse to learn the new one, but it is more as only the language. They have to accept the new culture and Dano act like they're still at home where still the old rules valid. The last line of the first paragraph makes you sound like an Aries hole. Also, the people you mention in that last line are people who have made an effort to try and learn/speak the language. I think this is an unpopular opinion though, and you were right to post it here. Edit, syntax. It's sad that this is unpopular opinion. I agree 100%. When I did Spanish studies in school, we learned of these English communities in Spain where a bunch of pensioners and rich families live in a complete English bubble. They make no effort to learn Spanish or integrate Spanish culture, and I'm completely against it. No comprendo. I've lived in East Asia, Western Europe, and Africa, and in my experience it's usually the first language English speakers, particularly Americans, who make zero effort to learn the local language. They expect everyone to cater to them in English and act like entitled Karens when it doesn't work. Native English speakers are the biggest culprits of this sin. Americans and Brits go everywhere in the world and expect everyone else to speak English, lol. Unfortunately it rarely works that way. Hell, in Cyprus, and Spain, Italy, etc., 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 there are whole communities set up for English speakers only. Many work and live there and only speak English, refusing to learn Greek because everyone speaks English. I've been booted out of a village taverna because I spoke Greek to the staff, and the national languages are no longer Greek, then Turkish, then English, but are now English, Russian, and then Greek. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree, but it has to work both ways. Why should Brits be known as expats and expect everyone to speak English regardless of where they are, but everyone else is classed as an immigrant and is disrespectful for speaking their native tongue while in the UK? Edited to add, especially seeing as most people are only able to come to the UK due to previously being colonized by the UK or bombed by us. Also, as an island, we have had many native languages historically, so insisting the English is our one true language isn't really fair in my eyes. And breathe. LOL. I mean, I'll admit it's annoying, but I'm not going to feel disrespected because someone doesn't speak my language. It's their problem if they want to make it harder for themselves. That being said, English is one of the most widely used languages, with plenty of nations learning it as a second language. I'm American, I speak English. I don't have a problem with learning a language, but I'm not going to be forced to just because someone says I should. There are plenty of jobs within the U.S. that require knowledge of other languages. We're starting to become like other nations where learning a second language is becoming required. Spanish, French, Mandarin.